Hello and welcome to this video where we'll go into Matplotlib fundamentals. So we'll work with bar charts and line charts. So these are the most fundamental graphs. There are a lot of other graphs and visuals that you can make in Matplotlib, but we'll just show these simple ones so that you get a grasp on how Matplotlib works. And these are also the most common ones used out in the wild. And also we'll work with pandas and DuckDB to filter and clean the data. And I hope that you have some experience with it. If you don't have, you should check out my previous videos in data processing. So that could help you in getting used to pandas and DuckDB to clean the data. Yes. So let's move on to Visual Studio Code. So starting in a browser, we have this dataset that we'll work with, new car sales in Norway. So this is in Kaggle. So create an account if you don't already have it, and then download the dataset. So then when you have done that, move that into a data folder in your repository. Let's do that. So I'm here in Visual Studio Code, and you can see that my data is here. So data, Norway, new car sales, Norway, new car sales by model, Norway, new car sales by month. So probably you won't be needing all of them in this lecture, but they will come in handy if you want to make the exercises later on. And also I will link in the description to the data so that you can get that. But for now we have an empty folder here, and you can see that I only have data and I have nothing else. So create a new terminal. I will increase the size a little bit, and then I will create a virtual environment. Okay, now I've activated my virtual environment, and I will install some stuff. UV pip install. What do I need? I need IPy-kernel to work with Jupyter Notebook. I need pandas to work with cleaning the data, and I need DuckDB to help me having SQL inside of pandas so that I can clean the data. And also I will, of course, need Matplotlib in order to graph the data. Okay, so let's create now code matplotlib line bar .ipnb. Okay, save this one, and you can see this is the Jupyter Notebook that we get here. And the Jupyter Notebook that I will go through here in this code along is a little bit more basic than the ones that you find in the lecture note, which is also linked in this video, of course. So you can see more details there if you need. So let's start with a markdown here. Matplotlib fundamentals. Create a new Python environment. We'll choose this one. So this is the virtual environment that we just created. So import, or let's change this to escape y, and I change it to Python. So import pandas as PD, import duckdb. So df equals to pd.read csv, and I want to go into my data folder / Norway new, let's see which one I want to take. I want to take, if we look into this one, open preview, you can see it looks like this. This is the make. So it has make, quantity, percent, month, year. Sales looks like this, where quantity, percent, make, model, month. And we have new car sales by month. So then you can see each month how many car sales we have. So to start with, I will pick the one from make. So I'll just copy this here. So this is my data frame. Okay, so here we have year, month, make, quantity, percent. I will have df.head. And then df.shape to understand how large this one is. And let's see, df.info. So we're making exploratory data analysis first. We need to understand the dataset. Okay, so we have here int on year, int on month. Let's make a query now. So duckdb dot query, we can do like this, triple quotations, so that we can write our query, select star from df. And that's it to write the query. Run this one, and you can see this is the data frame that we get back, but it's written in duckdb strings. So .df, and we get back our data frame. So then using SQL in DuckDB, we can actually create different types of filter that we want. So what do we want? We want to have make, and then we want to have sum of quantity, because I want to see which make or which brand, how many quantities do we have in total that it's selling. Quantity, let's clean this up a little bit. And there's an error because we need to group by from df group by make. Exactly. And then we want to order this one, order by quantity, like this. And I want to order by descending. So now you can see which brands or which makes. Actually, make is quite a weird name. I'll change it to brand as, let's see, as brand, as quantity, like this. Okay, so now we can see which brand and how much quantity they have. So I'll call this df quantity underscore brand. So df quantity brand dot head, and you can see this is the data. So by using SQL, you can see how easy it is for us to create aggregations here and filter on what we want. So we have aggregated using group by, and we use the aggregation function sum, and we have ordered by quantity to sort the data. Okay, so now let's create some charts. So let's create a bar chart now. Bar chart. So we use df quantity brand dot plot kind equals to bar. And we need to choose, yeah, exactly. And we need to choose what is what. So x equals to brand, y equals to quantity, and we can have title equals to cars sold in Norway, cars sold in Norway, like this. Okay. And you can see all the brands here, very crowded. So we have this graph. Let's save this one. So x equals to this one, and fig equals to x dot get figure. We also dot tight layout so that it doesn't cut off some parts, so that all the parts comes into the figure. And then we can save on into figures slash cars. And you can see in the figures, this is the graph that we have saved. Okay, so this is quite hard to read, but we get some trend. We see that there are some car brands that sells a lot, and then there's a lot of car brands that don't sell much. So then it's very few that are sold in Norway. Okay, so with this, let's create a second iteration here. So let's do this. I want to pick out the top 10 of these quantities. So df quantity brand dot iloc colon 10. Then I only get the top 10, right? So since I found out that we have a lot of cars, but only a few of them sells a lot, stands for a lot of the sales. So then I just need to visualize a few of them. That is my idea. And now, instead, we'll call it df quantity make top 10 equals to this. Df quantity make top 10. Unlike before, I won't use df.plot. Instead, I will use Matplotlib and use the bar chart directly. Actually, Pandas has a wrapper around Matplotlib to have convenience functions, so that you could do like this df.plot kind bar, and you can add in a lot of keyword arguments to this visual. But this will return an X figure, an X, which you can use here. And based on the X, you can do whatever you could with normal X. But I will show you now when we don't use Pandas plot method. Instead, we'll use Matplotlib's plot. So fig comma X equals to plt.subplot. And here we can choose fig size equals to 12,6. Now we need to import Matplotlib as .pyplot as plt. So 12 is the inches, 6 is the height in inches. Okay. And then we can make our graphs now. So x.bar, we place in x equals to df quantity brand, top 10, and we pick out we pick out the brand, df quantity brand. So brand, and I will copy this one. And then I will have height equals to df quantity brand top 10 of quantity. And here we get the visual. So now we have this bar chart here. If we didn't have this fig size here, if I remove it, you can see that it's really crowded here. That's why I added it. I want the bars to be a little bit thinner. So that in that way I can change here width equals to 0.6. And you can see it becomes a little bit thinner. And that looks a little bit better in my opinion. So x.set, we can set the title equals to number of cars. I'll just copy from my lecture note because it's a little bit long. Okay, numbers of cars from top 10 most sold brands in Norway, 2007 to 2017. So how do I know this? That is because if we do here, df is like this, year. You could take like df year and dot unique. And you can see it goes from 2007 to 2017. And then I'll set the X label is the car brand. Y label is number cars. Okay. So then I have my second iteration of my bar chart. And this looks quite okay. It's a good start. We'll clean it up later on when we come to data storytelling. Okay, so let's create a stack bar. And to do that, let's pick the data we want first. So duckdb.query select here, comma, make, comma, some quantity as quantity. We can have make as brand like this. Let me clean this up a little bit. From diet, group by year, comma, month, comma, make. Yes. And you can see that we have grouped all the months, because if you look into our DF, it looks like this. We have year, month, make, right? So what I did now is that I grouped by year, month, and make, so that we can see for each month quantities have been made. So let me take this as head, and then we order by year, month, and we can see we have each year, and we can have each month as well. So I have year, concatenate with dash, concatenate with lpad. So I will left pad I will show you first the month. Let's see, month. We need to the month because we need to this as. So I make this into a string now. And you can see that 2007 1, etc., 2017 1, etc. But I want to do padding here, lpad. And what I want to pad is basically 2, 0, so that the length should be 2, and whenever it's 1, then it should add a 0 to the left. That is basically what it does. So it means that all that are not 10, 11, 12 will have a 0 in the left side. That is what lpad is doing. I'll do this as date. And then .df. So now I have the date. And I will make the date into datetime. So df month brand of date equals to pd.toDatetime, df month brand of date, and then we'll choose the format, and the format equals to %y for the year. So big Y is giving 4 characters in year, and then dash, we have small m for the month. So this makes it into datetime, so that you can see here it gives 0, 1 as well. So the first day of each month. If it's in datetime, then it's easier to filter it. So you can filter out each year, for example. I'll show you what that means soon. I want to pivot my data. So we have df month brand dot pivot. The index is the date. Columns is equal to brand. And we have values equals to quantity. Index equals to date, columns brand, values quantity. We fill them, dot fill na 0. And okay, so here we have a lot of brands here. And here's the date, and then the values for each date, how much has been sold for, how many have been sold for each brand. That is basically how you read it. But I don't want all the brands. I just want a few of them. So which ones am I interested in? So here, we can do that in our statement here. Let's see, from df, and here we can have where, make, in the brands I want. Volvo, Volkswagen, and Toyota. Okay, so now we have only these brands, and you can see this one becomes shorter now, and we have the brands Toyota, Volkswagen, and Volvo. So these are the ones I want to compare. I want to make a bar chart, stacked bar chart of each of them. I want to see in each month how much did Toyota sell, how much did Volkswagen sell, and how much did Volvo sell, so that I can compare them. I will just pick a year. df month brand, pivot. I didn't save it actually. df month brand pivot. And I want to have dot low for finding the date I want. So 2016. And you can see I only get for 2016. And this is the neat thing about having it in datetime, because then you can filter it very easily. So I could take, for example, from 2016, 01 to 2016, 05. You can see how easy it is to filter this. But I will just pick from 2016. So I get all the months. And based on this, I will also I can pick out all the months and the name of the months by doing this, df month brand pivot dot lock 2016. And I could take dot index to get the date, and then dot month name, and we get all the months. And I can call it month equals this, months. And now, based on this one, we'll make a stack bar. So x equals to the df month brand pivot dot lock 2016 dot plot kind equals bar. So why is that? If you look into the data, we have Toyota, Volkswagen, and Volvo. So for each brand date, we get one bar for Toyota, one for Volkswagen, and one for Volvo. That's why we get stack. So this is how it works. And basically the date here in x-axis, we want to change all the ticks, right? What I would do is, so it's called tick labels. And how do I know it's called x-tick labels? You can do like this. Do a Google search on Matplotlib anatomy. This is very good picture. So here you can see this is the anatomy of a figure, and you can find out like, okay, x-axis, and here is tick labels, minor tick labels, y-axis label, major tick labels. So then you know it's called tick labels, and then you can just put it into an LLM and ask how to change the tick labels in a bar chart, or you can Google it up. But the point is you need to know what different parts of the figure, what it's called, so that you can search it up. Otherwise, it's very hard to search up different details to change them. Okay, so I have searched this up, of course. And then I will do x.set xtick labels. I will change it to month. And you can see here are the months. Great. Let's see. We'll close this down so you can see. So I want to change it. So rotation equals 0. But this is a little bit crowded, so I need to change the fig size. Let's see, 16,6. Better. And here I can set x.set. Yeah, I'll just copy this from the lecture note. You don't need to. Okay, so there's a title. There are some X label and Y label. And this one you could also save it. So let me just copy the ones above. Actually, it's good to make a function out of it. Let's see. Yeah, this part here. Actually, I want to save this one as well. Bars 2 bars. Save this one. And we can have one that is stacked. Cars stack bar. Okay. Yes, so now I've saved these figures here. Okay, so now we have done some bar charts. So let's do some line charts as well. Line charts. So let's get the quantity for each year, because in line charts, it's very important that you have some kind of trend, some kind of continuous variable. So you cannot do line charts on discrete variables. For example, you cannot do line charts on the different brands. It doesn't make sense. So the question is, if you go from Toyota to Volkswagen to Volvo, and you see a trend there, so what does it mean to be between two brands? What does it mean to be between Toyota and Volkswagen? It doesn't make sense. So you cannot make line charts out of categorical variables. So line charts, it's very good for time series. So let's create df yearly quantity. And to make this one, we do ductdb.query. So select year, comma, sum quantity as quantity from df group by year, order by year. df yearly quantity can do .df here. And you can see we get, for each year, we get different quantities. Okay, then let's make an initial graph here. So df yearly quantity dot plot. Okay, so we get this strange graph, quantity year. Oh yeah, I need to pick out what. Oh yeah, I will make the index actually. I'll do like this, .df dot set index of year, capital year. So I will make this into an index, and then this one into a column. So then when I run this one, since I only have one column and one one index, it plots it quite well. However, there's a problem here. You can see it's a sudden decrease. Why? Maybe because, probably it's because 2017, we don't have data for the full year. So it makes sense. And should check it out from the dataset. Validate that it's actually the case and not a huge crash in the car sales. So what can we do? So this is our first iteration. Second iteration. So I will do something similar, but I will do df yearly quantity dot ilo colon -1, so I don't pick the last one, dot plot like this. Better. And I will change line width to 2, so it becomes a little bit thicker. And I will change the style to dash. And this is to indicate that there is no data in between these points. And then we could remove the legend, and we could set the titles and other labels. We'll just show you that. So yeah, I'm quite satisfied with this graph. We could save it as well, but you know how to do it, so I won't do it here. So in this video, we've gone through some simple Matplotlib to make a line chart and a bar chart using Pandas data frame. And we used the DuckDB to clean the data or filter the data and do some aggregations based on what we wanted. And based on this, we created the visuals and we saved them. And in the next video, we'll go into some charts when you can make it faulty. See you in the next video. Bye.